Welcome back, everybody. This time we're diving into a book that one of you sent our way. It's called The Invention of Morel by Adolfo Bioy Casares.
Oh, yeah. This one is going to be good.
Yeah. You know, when we saw this one come across our desk, we thought...
It sounded right up our alley.
It really did.
Really interesting.
And it's a story that blends sci-fi and philosophy, and I think you're going to find it really makes you think. Are you ready to explore a reality where things are not quite as they seem?
I am.
All right, let's set the stage. Our main character is a fugitive who's hiding out on this deserted island. He's all alone, at least he thinks he is, until he sees this group of people. But something is a little strange about how they're acting.
A little off.
What was it about these characters that really jumped out at you when you first read this?
Well, it's how they move through the island.
Yeah.
You know, they appear and disappear. There's just no logic to it. And they just keep repeating the same actions over and over again.
Like they're stuck in a loop.
Yeah. In fact, Casares describes it as a week of activities, always the same, repeated endlessly.
Yeah.
You know, just imagine being this fugitive and trying to make sense of that.
Yeah.
It would be so confusing, almost like they're trapped in this bizarre repeating film reel.
And as if things couldn't get any weirder, he falls head over heels in love with one of these people, a woman named Faustine.
Oh, yeah. Talk about a recipe for disaster.
Right. Unrequited love much.
Yeah. And it's not just a simple attraction, you know?
Yeah.
He's absolutely fixated on her, even though she clearly doesn't even know he exists.
Wow.
It makes you think, you know. What does that tell us about his state of mind?
Right.
What does it say about longing, especially in isolation?
I was wondering that myself. It makes you wonder if maybe because he's so cut off from everyone, that maybe he's clinging to this idealized image of her just because he desperately wants to connect with someone.
Could be.
Yeah. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let's rewind a little bit and get back to the main mystery here. What is it about these people that's so strange, so unreal?
Well, the truth is they're not actually alive. I mean, not in the traditional sense.
Okay.
They're projections, like super realistic projections.
Yeah.
Created by this brilliant but eccentric scientist named Morel. Morel, yeah. And his invention is kind of like a camera, but instead of just capturing a picture,
Yeah.
you know, it records their essence, their emotions, even their memories.
Wow.
And then it just plays it all back in this continuous loop.
Like a 3D photograph.
Yeah, exactly.
So they don't just look real, they embody the actual people they're based on.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And this is where Casares really starts to play with this idea of immortality.
Ooh, I like where this is going.
Because it makes you wonder, you know, what would it mean to live forever? I mean, as a recording,
Yeah.
stuck in this repeating loop.
Right, would you even call that living?
Exactly. It's a question that goes to the very heart of what it means to be human.
That's deep.
You know what I mean?
I know.
Are we just the sum of our memories and experiences? Or is there something more?
Right.
Something that can't be captured by a machine, no matter how advanced it is.
Yeah. This is where the story really gets under your skin.
Oh, yeah.
And we haven't even gotten to the fugitive's decision yet. And what he's willing to sacrifice to be with Faustine.
I know, and that's a whole other can of worms.
Yeah.
Because his choice speaks volumes about how far we'll go for connection. And whether a fabricated reality, even one with the person we love, can ever truly satisfy us. Really makes you think. It's pretty wild when you think about the ethical side of all this. I mean, the implications of a technology like this, it'd be massive. Not just for the people being recorded, you know, but for society as a whole.
Totally. If something like this actually existed, it would completely flip our whole concept of life and death on its head. Like,
Yeah.
what would it do to things like relationships or even just our sense of self?
I mean, think about history for a second. We could actually experience past events through the eyes of the people who lived through them,
Whoa,
right? Or how it would change our religious beliefs.
that's a good point.
It really makes you question, you know, what even makes us different from machines?
Right. Are we just really complex machines ourselves in a way?
And would a perfect replica of a person be any less human than the original?
That's a tough one. So many things to think about here. But let's get back to our love-struck fugitive for a minute. So he's put the pieces together. He knows Faustine is a projection. How does he react to that?
Well, his reaction might surprise you instead of being turned off by it. You know, his obsession actually grows even stronger.
Really?
Yeah, like he rationalizes it by saying, well, these projections are based on real people, so my feelings for Faustine are valid. He's clinging to this belief that even if she's just a recording, that some part of her true essence is still there.
So he's choosing to believe in this illusion, even though he knows it's not real.
That's right. It's kind of sad in a way,
It is.
but it also speaks to that basic human need for connection, you know.
I wonder, would any of us make the same choice if we were in his shoes?
It's hard to say, but that's what's so brilliant about what Casares does here. He throws this really complicated situation at us, and he forces us to look at these tough questions about what we'd be willing to give up for love, or connection, or even a shot at some kind of immortality.
So how does he actually go about trying to join Faustine in this artificial reality? I mean, he figures out a way to literally insert himself into Morel's recordings, right?
Exactly. So Morel's machine, it works on this specific cycle. It records for a week, and then there's this week-long break where the recordings play back.
Okay.
And during that break, the machine can record a new layer of reality and blend it with what's already there.
So it's like adding a new track to a song.
Exactly.
Okay, so the fugitive comes up with this elaborate plan to basically place himself in specific spots at very specific times.
Right.
So that when the machine records again, he's seamlessly woven into the projected world right alongside Faustine.
You got it.
Wow, what a plan.
It's a pretty desperate move.
Yeah.
Fueled by this kind of flawed hope.
You think it'll work?
Who knows?
But he's basically making himself disappear from the real world. He's going to exist only inside this recording.
And that brings up another big question. Is this even really immortality? If you're giving up your physical existence to become part of this made-up reality?
It's a good question. Does he even exist anymore at that point?
I don't know. Casares doesn't really give us any easy answers.
I was wondering about that.
In the end, all we see is the fugitive getting ready to be recorded.
Oh, so we never actually see if it works or not.
That's right. Casares leaves his fate totally up in the air.
Wow, that's interesting.
So we're left to wonder, did he actually pull it off?
Yeah.
Did he achieve this artificial unity with Faustine?
It's all a mystery.
And I think that's kind of the point. We have to grapple with those questions ourselves.
It's like he's saying, here are the questions. Now you figure out what it all means.
Exactly.
That's pretty powerful. It really makes you think, doesn't it? I mean, that open ending.
It does.
So powerful.
It is. It really stays with you.
It does.
Casares doesn't give us the answers. He just gives us these questions and says, all right, now what do you think?
Right.
That's what makes great literature so great.
It does.
It makes you think long after you've put the book down.
And this book really does that.
Oh, it really does.
It keeps coming back to me. You know what I keep thinking about?
What's that?
It's that connection we made earlier to technology today. It's like, are we creating our own versions of Morel's machine in a way? I mean, with things like social media and virtual reality and stuff.
That's a good question.
We're spending all this time online, you know, crafting these perfect digital versions of ourselves, trying to capture our best moments.
Yeah.
It's almost like we're trying to achieve some kind of online immortality.
I see what you mean.
Like we're all trying to be little Morels in a way.
It's like we're projecting these images of ourselves out into the digital world. And the lines between what's real and what's virtual are getting blurrier and blurrier all the time.
They are. I mean, think about it. We're spending so much time in these online spaces now, connecting with people we might never even meet face to face.
It's true.
Is that changing what it means to connect with someone?
Maybe.
What it means to be in a relationship?
It might be.
I don't know.
And I think the invention of Morel really serves as this cautionary tale about the dangers of falling for the illusion.
Right, like mistaking projection for the real thing.
Exactly. The fugitive's obsession with Faustine is like a warning.
To all of us.
To all of us.
Yeah.
Don't get so caught up in the fake that you lose sight of what's real.
Right, because the real world might be messy.
Is.
But it's also beautiful and full of genuine connection.
It is.
That's something we have to remember. So as we wrap up our deep dive into the invention of Morel, what's the one big takeaway you want our listeners to walk away with?
You know, as you're going about your day-to-day lives, in this world that's so intertwined with technology, just remember to value real human connection. Seek out those authentic experiences. Be present in your relationships. And don't let the virtual world completely overshadow the real world.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself.
I tried.
This book really is a book for our times.
It is.
It makes us think about our relationship with technology.
All the big questions.
Yeah, and our desires, you know,
Yeah.
for connection and for immortality.
For sure.
And it reminds us to appreciate what we have right here, right now.
Couldn't agree more.
A big thank you to all of you for listening and for sending us this incredible book.
Thanks for tuning in.